For the latest film interviews, reviews, and everything making news in pop culture, subscribe to Film Companion now.
There was some content which was amazing and I didn't want to miss out on it, because it was giving me that, oh, I want to do something different, because digital does that for you as an actor.
Yeah.
But I was scared, and yeah, and I have no shame in admitting it. I was actually scared. Now I'm a bit more like, no, yaar, come on. You can't let something that happened, which was political, affect your choices.
When I was shooting Kalank, as you said, I'd be 2 weeks in Karachi, 3 weeks in Mumbai, 1 week in Karachi. Some days I'd wake up, I couldn't tell the difference, honestly. It was when the menu said non-veg, veg, I knew I was in Mumbai.
Mahira, Azaan, so lovely to see both of you. Eid Mubarak. And many congratulations on your new collaboration too. It's such a catchy song. First of all, Azaan, I have to ask you what inspired it? What prompted you to create this song? And after that, Mahira, I want you to tell me how you got involved.
Okay, so firstly, Eid Mubarak, and thank you so much for having me here. And as far as Tu is concerned, so Tu is part of my first debut album, independent album. I've done film soundtracks before this and more narrative-based stuff. But Tu came from a place of, I was very inspired by songs like Billie Jean, because as a kid, I was growing up and I would listen to Billie Jean and I thought it was just a fun dance track. And then I grew older and I understood the lyrical content of it. And I was like, this is actually a very serious, dark song. And it inspired me that, a dance track or a fun song doesn't just have to be frivolous. It doesn't just have to be, okay, everyone get up and dance kind of thing. It can have meaning. So I was actually writing a heartbreak kind of song about being in love with somebody who you shouldn't be in love with. Like, which all of us have gone through at some point, where you have the awareness to be like, this is bad for me, but you're enjoying it. So you're like, chalo, khair ek din aur sahi type thing, where the line comes from, bewafa si thodi tu, par pyari thi bhi tu, So I think every guy, girl has been through that at some point. So that's where it came from, where it was, if you dissect it, it's a very serious song put to a fast beat, and then there's a fiddle that comes in that kind of wraps it all up.
That's wonderful. Mahira, at what point did you get involved with Tu?
Thank you for wishing us Eid Mubarak to you too. You have to ask Azaan this, because how I got roped into doing this, only him and Seher, who's my manager, know, because I was just like, no, guys, no, like, take someone else. I kept telling him, like, take someone else. We were meant to do, me and Azaan have been very close for God knows how many years. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but like my last film, which was Superstar, was written by Azaan.
Of course. And he composed the music.
And I have literally held on to that story and that script in my hand and gone to people's doors and said, producers' doors, and be like, please make this. Please, trust me, it's going to be good. So we have this, it's a really old relationship. And I've always believed in his, I think he's musically so gifted. He's a genius. So all the songs that he makes, he shares with me, and then and it's a running joke that I criticize them when I don't know anything.
No. That's not the joke. I'm going to tell you the joke. The joke is that filmon mein I may be a music director in some points, whatever, but she's the music director of my life, because इनसे मैं गाना शेयर करता हूँ, फिर उसका एक तफसीलन criticism आता है, ये तुमने क्यों ऐसे क्यों mix ऐसे क्यों, all of that stuff. Then I first correct that, then I have the audacity to share it with anybody else. So that's kind of how it always has worked. But all jokes aside, she's before I believed that I could even do music or my music was worth for anybody to listen to, honestly, she pushed me and she encouraged me always, and she's been a huge part of it. So that is where her involvement came from, where it would have been incomplete. The album would have been incomplete if she wasn't a part of it. And as far as Tu is concerned, this was, I think, a lot of the people around us, who heard the song, they were shooting another movie, I believe. I think you can tell that part better.
Yeah, so I was shooting for a film, and every day I would listen to the song before I'd go. Before I'm going to do a serious scene, I used to be like, "Fancy 32," and I'd be dancing, and Sarah's like, "Why are we gonna do a video? We were gonna do another video, me and Azan, like for another song of Azan." She's like, "Myra, why not this? Like, why can't you just be fun? Like, why does it have to be you in a chutia and And I'm like, because that's my vibe. And then, anyway, so I think they both sort of said, "Ke isko, let's make her do too." And then the final straw was Azan's like, I was like, get someone else.
Yes.
And Azan's like, okay, tell me, how do I put these lyrics on another person?
Particularly the line, "बड़े बड़ों को देखा है तुझ पे मरते गिरते मरते यारा." I'm like, who else am I going to put to this? Like,
I was like, fine, yaar, okay, fine, I'll do it. I mean, and everything, the zombie bana diya, ye bana diya, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do it. And I'm glad I'm a part of this video because it was just so much fun. And I think this is such a catchy song.
It is.
I'm usually, like I said, um, usually very, in those DC. Yeah, that's what's expected of me. I'm also very comfortable doing that, but this wasn't that. So I had a lot of fun.
Azan, this idea of a writer composer, that's that's not common. That's a very rare thing. And you're also in a few months going to be making your acting debut. I read that you've been editing since you were a little kid because your mom made you edit when you came home from school. So this thing that you are able to do so many things, is it purely because you've grown up within the business?
I think it's several factors. Yes, of course, like any kid like me who does grow up in a film background or a music background, I think the biggest luxury we have is the exposure because at 12 you know how a schedule is made, and there's just those things are probably third year things taught in film school, so it of course the exposure plays a huge factor into it. So I don't consider myself exceptionally gifted or talented at all. It's just कि वो होता है ना कि मुझी घर मुझी पैदा होता है कि आप बचपन से एक ही काम होते हुए देख रहे हैं तो it's shame on you if you don't know how to do those things in a basic somewhat reasonable manner. But as far as the writing and music process is concerned, I just found it extremely. I was always inspired by auteurs from like Charlie Chaplin and Raj Kapoor Sahab. Always, it's been, and I kind of understood why they did it. Where because it's like when I would be writing a scene, I'd be hearing a melody, or if I was composing a melody, I would see a scene, and it just made sense that these two things are connected. Particularly with Superstar, I think where we always used to talk about this that it's almost like the song. It doesn't. The scene must exist within the song, or the song must within the scene. They're very very interconnected. And I think that's what made Superstar whatever it did. I never compose the music with the intention कि अब मैं music director बनूंगा या अब मैं screenwriter बनूंगा. It wasn't that at all. It was that यार यहाँ पर ये अच्छा लगेगा. या यहाँ पर उनकी आवाज आएगी तो अच्छी लगेगी. And that was where it came from, honestly.
Mahira, when we met a few years ago at the Cannes Film Festival, I remember you telling me that I'm going to be very smartly rebellious and strategically change the paradigm of the Pakistani film industry. Have you done that?
Damn this COVID. Because unfortunately, I think, while again, for the time being, everything has shut, and I think there are a lot of amazing films that are just waiting to be released. But prior to COVID, I think not just me. I think there are a few other female actors who've done that for sure. I think we all have a part to play with the kind of roles we took, with the kind of things that we didn't show or did do. I can definitely speak for myself. I've left films where I felt I don't want to show this. This is not something that I want to show. And now I've realized that actually the way to do it is that You don't leave something if it's good. You just, I must have told you this, but I didn't do it. Now I've started to do it, where I'm like, okay, this is good. This has these issues. That doesn't mean I bounce. It means that I use my power, whatever little power I have, to make those changes, to actually say, no, this is something, let's not take it this way. This is regressive, or this is something I will not say. Even if it's written there, these are the words that won't come out of my mouth. So I've started to do that. Even now, I'm working on a drama serial, which is so strange for me after so long.
And
Strange.
do you find that given the clout that you have, people are, of course, far more receptive to these changes and to these suggestions? Do you
Oh, yeah.
often they are incorporated?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. I mean, even in the drama serial that I'm doing, I mean, it's an old novel that was adapted, and even the writer. I mean, we all got together and we were like, I mean, we have to we can tell the same story, but we can tell it with a little bit more awareness. I mean, we didn't have that awareness back then. We have it now, and it must be used.
Hmm.
So yeah, for sure.
Azan, I was, of course, because of your father, you've had sort of, lots of relationships in India in terms of spending your teen years here, going back and forth. But I was very intrigued to read that you were an AD on Kalank.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, how did you get that job, and what did you take away from that experience?
So it was amazing. I when this whole so I'm just going to step back for a second. I initially there is a writer, Hussain Dalal,
Of
who
course.
is a really close friend of mine, and he's worked on obviously many great movies. And so when I would write scenes of Superstar and stuff, I would share them with him, and I would be like, is it good, is it good or bad? And he was very kind, and he helped me out whenever we needed help. So I was in Bombay, and I felt that Mumbai, and when I was over there, I remember that I felt that there was this looming air that maybe I should get into acting, I should give it a shot, etc., etc. I was excited about it with this ambition that one day I'll be an auteur and I'll write, direct, act, make the music of some film. And I
Well,
was like,
that's
chalo
going to
seek.
happen. That is eventually, but we'll get to that. Go on, please. Finish your
Yes,
story. Yeah.
yes, inshallah.
Huh.
So so I was like, okay, I should AD because I think that today obviously it's not just hero, it's the protagonist, and a protagonist I feel in South Asia has a big responsibility on their shoulders in a movie, much more than maybe in the West the way it is. It's just almost as if the protagonist has to like carry the film on their shoulders, which I think is a very South Asian concept compared to in the West. So I was like, I want to go and work on a big film and see what it's really like, and take away from it. So it was, Hossein Bhai spoke to them. I sent my resume, what all I had done so far. And Abhishek Varman Saab was the director. And he was kind enough I met him, he allowed me on the film. So I was there throughout the prep, and then we shot the songs. And I shot about 30-40% of the movie. And then I had to come back because a film I was doing a soundtrack for was releasing Parvaz Hai Junu. So, but it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot, and it taught me a lot of things that I feel the advantage of having AD'd and all those things is you kind of have a lot of respect for every other job that's happening on set, which otherwise maybe if you're just an actor you don't know.
And Binod Pradhan apparently reprimanded you for doing something.
Yep. So I remember I spent a lot of time with him, and he's a legend. He's so cool, and he's a master. And frankly, one thing I do want to mention here, I had spoken to him when I was writing Superstar because he had shot my father's music video Tera Chehra, and so in that sense, I knew him, and I had contacted him for Superstar, and that's before like in 2016. I'm writing this film and I want you to shoot it, and he's like, sure, I'll come. It'll be fun, khana khilana type thing. So uh,
That
that
sounds like a
happened,
very
and
Binod thing to
what he
say.
reprimanded me about was
Huh.
yes, yes. So what I was doing was that we were shooting in the day, and I was, he'd asked me to stand in for a scene, and there was a big matte box on the lens, and I was fixing my hair, looking into the camera because I was like, nobody's looking at me. Actors ne dere se aana hai, so I'm baal sahi kar raha hu, I'm seeing how I'm looking and stuff. And then he called me, and he said that तुमने पूरी जिंदगी इससे खाना खाना है, इस चीज से इसकी इज्जत करना सीखो, ये एक शीशा नहीं है. And that really resonated a lot, and
That's amazing.
it stuck in my, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. And now, Azaan, you are making your acting debut. So, Mahira, are you guys exchanging notes? You obviously talk a lot about his music, but what about his acting? Are you giving him notes on that?
No,
Why
not
not?
Precisely what she said was, if you don't know what to do, just say your lines, don't overdo it.
Yes,
That's always there. That's always there.
that seems like good advice.
Yeah.
Mahira, this year you finished 10 years in the movies.
Yes, yes, I do. I mean, very soon. Yes,
Bowl
yes,
was 2011.
yes, yes. Bowl, Humsafar, everything was 2011.
Yeah. So do you feel, Myra, that whatever goals you had in your head, you have achieved those? I mean, we had also talked about you producing. You've also later in other interviews I saw talked about wanting to be a director. There's this lovely picture of you, looking into camera. Are those things you want to actively pursue?
I badger her about the direction all the time.
Really?
Nobody does it more than I do. Is that correct?
That is correct. He
And
has been begging me to direct. There came a point where he's like, one day he called me, he's like, listen, I have an idea. I was like, okay. He's like, why can't you just direct Superstar? I said, have you lost your mind? I mean, I wish. You know? But I think, yes, I have gotten into production, and it's, oh my God, I really didn't think it would be this tough. I am such a, I don't know if I should have. I mean, I love it, I enjoy it, but I'm such an actor, you know, like I I'm that actor who should not be a producer. I'm bad with numbers, so I have a great co-partner, co-producer with me, and she's amazing. But I am a softie. Like if an actor will tell me this is happening, I'll be like, please, can we just somehow make this work? And my partner will be like, Myra, are you crazy? You can't think like an actor all the time. So that's my biggest issue. But what I enjoy the process, putting the script, getting the script.
yeah.
And like, for instance, my series, and I'm not in it, obviously, but it's a really, really sweet, cool series about cricket. And I told my writer, I said, I want a scene in it, a locker room scene. And they were like, but why? I was like, no, I want this. I want this girl to come and hear the locker room scene. I want there to be a scene where you see how boys talk about girls and stuff which we do, which is a very known thing. I mean, it happened in India as well, happened in
Of course.
Pakistan as well. These groups where they talk about it, and I want the girl to hear it, and then the girl to come in and call them out on it. So for me, that was a huge thing, that I was able to create something, and I was able to put this into the material. So that was fun. Directing, I don't know. I think that's a big, big task. But I'd like to. At the moment, I feel like I want to do, acting wise, I feel like I want to be able to do some other stuff now, like just, I don't know, something crazy, something else, like something that challenges me, something that makes me just like be like, wow, what is this? I want to do this. So yeah, I want something like that.
That's
But
exciting.
yeah, and really, yeah, I let's see.
Azan, it's incredible how you're, of course, not just balancing between parents who don't live together, but you're also balancing between countries. You identify Pakistan as your home. Your father lives in India. How have you done it with such grace? And how do you just stay out of trouble?
I keep telling myself something. This is for me. I'm not saying it about anybody else. That I just make songs or I just work in the movies. There are many more very important jobs out there in the world. So I think for me, it's that realization that I'm not as far as politics is concerned, I respect everyone's opinion, but it's not something I'm that well versed in to even really have a strong formed opinion and come and comment about it, because I don't know enough. तो आप मुझसे अगर गाने के बारे में पूछेंगे तो वो भी अभी मैं सतही तौर पे I'm learning about, and I'm just like, if I just politely do that for the rest of my life, I may get somewhere in the learning of that. And then instead I start dabbling in areas that I don't know much about, and there are way more competent people doing it. So it's emotionally, it's obviously I've grown up in a lot of my life in Pakistan. It's my mother's home. My father's chosen to live in India. I respect that. I have great friends in both countries. When I was shooting Kalank, as you said, I'd be 2 weeks in Karachi, 3 weeks in Mumbai, 1 week in Karachi. Some days I'd wake up, I couldn't tell the difference, honestly. It was when the menu said non-veg, veg, I knew I was in Mumbai. So that's really what made the difference. So in that sense, obviously, like, I don't speak to a friend of mine over there any different than I'll speak to a friend of mine here. It'll just be different topics of conversation maybe, but it's exactly the same. People have asked me, how is it different? I'm like, the people are all exactly the same. When someone says ke Azaan bhai ye 15 minute mein ho jayega, udhar bhi nahi hoga, idhar bhi nahi hoga. So, it's exactly the same for me in that sense. So I don't, it's
So
there's a
true.
very you know what I'm saying, right? You've experienced it more than
Just
I
the
have.
other day, someone was asking me, Azaan, just like 2 days ago, अब बताए ना वहां पे क्या होता है, और वो हमारी तरह है या नहीं है, और बहुत बड़ा सेट होता होगा, बहुत बड़ी. मैंने कहा सब बहुत बड़ा है, सब चीज, मतलब एवरीथिंग इज लाइक एट अ बिगर स्केल. एंड मैंने कहा मगर वो भी जुगाड़ू हैं और हम भी जुगाड़ू हैं. you know Last minute,
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody does it better than a desi.
Yeah.
Ideas are just the same. It's all the same. It's crazy.
Even with two yesterday, like, I was going on to the shoot on the project that I'm working on, so I made sure to really finish all the release materials before leaving, a week before. And still, an hour before the release, someone was screaming at somebody, and it was like, "Yeah, tumne ye bhool gaye," and all of that was happening. And I'm like, this only desis will be doing this. Nowhere else in the world will you see someone at, like, Warner Brothers, I'd like to believe, is not screaming at somebody 20 minutes before Inception comes out. Oh, tumne wo file nahi bheji, So it's, we love it regardless. But as you said, I don't plan it in any way of balancing it. I just say it how it is. They're my parents. I love both of them. They've made choices. I respect them. I may have my opinions and stuff, but I've tried to be as true to all of it as I am. And anyone who listens to music, listens to, loves the movies, I hold them with the same place in my heart, regardless of where they are.
Yeah. Because, artistry is finally what will keep people together.
Yes.
I think that is really cinema and music and art is really what binds all of us. It speaks to a sort of common humanity. Tell me, of course, the other great thing is that thanks to the internet and thanks to streaming, we are able to watch so much cross borders. It doesn't really matter how heated political discussions are at the moment. We can see what's going on. We can follow you guys on Instagram. We can be up to date on lives. Tell me, in terms of just social media, which for artists here seems to have now become a sort of double-edged sword. What is it like for stars like yourselves in Pakistan? Do you get, I know, Mahira, you've talked about trolling in your earlier interviews, but how do you handle it? Do you just see it as part of the job? Do you get affected by it? Here, several people, in fact, Amir quit social media. Ranbir has never gotten on it. Saif has never gotten on it. How do the two of you handle being famous and handle being on social media?
I mm, yeah, I think I'm thinking about what I should say about this, because I've been through a phase of being affected badly by it. Um, and that was, I think as artists we're all vulnerable. In fact, as human beings we are, right? I mean, 5 people may comment on someone's profile and we have hundreds or thousands, whatever. But obviously, us being, touted as, like, we're told you're public property and this is just how it is. This is the name of the game. This is what comes with it. So you're like, okay, fine, it comes with it. But I have seen, and I've been lucky enough to see a few years of no social media. And then came this, all of this Instagram, Twitter, and that also I joined very late. I um i enjoy speaking to my fans. I enjoy the feedback, but I do not give it importance. I don't give it the kind of importance that I saw a lot of people give it, and then it just, I don't know. There's something about social media that as years are going by, I've started to dislike. You know,
Mm.
um, I think that we can use it in the right way. We must use it in the right way. It is a platform. I do take to Twitter when I want to say something, even if I'm stopped and even if I'm told, don't do that, you're gonna get bashed. If I truly believe something, I do it.
Who stops you, Myra?
Uh, well, my mom, my brother, my manager. Um, I had actually gone off Twitter because you know how it is. It's one of those things, like you said, it is a double-edged sword, and and it's unfortunate because I feel that my heroes, when I was growing up, and the people I looked up to them for several reasons. They weren't just actors. They weren't just like good at their job. They were brave people who spoke their truth, who were, um, they had opinions and they would say it, "Dhadalle se kehte the," And I used to love that. I still love that about a person. But now I feel an artist or an actor or a singer, whatever you may are, but you're just told to shut up. You got to be quiet. You're told that this is not you have to just do your job and that's it. But that's not what artists were, you know. They brought the change because they could feel something was happening before everybody else. We're sensitive, we feel for things, we have a platform, we have voices. So I just feel that if I'm not able to say what I want to say, then what use is it for me to be on Twitter? That's how I look at it.
In my case, when I was born, obviously there wasn't social media, but everybody knew that these two people have a kid. So there was already this wherever I would go, even way pre-social media. I remember when my father's music released, I'd go to any video shop to buy something. They start playing, Tera Chehra or Lift Kara De or something like that, right? So I grew up with that. So I was very clear that I don't want my kids to have that because it just made me feel very important for no reason. And as a kid, so I did take it for granted, and I wasn't probably at times the nicest person to be around because I was like, you just feel special, whether you're in school, whether you're anywhere. So I wanted my kids to be able to, if they have friends because maybe they're good people and that's why they have friends, not because of whose kid they are, or anything of that nature. As far as I'm concerned, I do get affected by social media, which is why when I'm working on anything, I try to stay off it as much as possible because I find it influences a lot. So I can spend 6 months on a particular project and it has a certain gestation period and I'm developing it in a certain way. And then I'll suddenly open Instagram and I'll see someone else has released something, which is great. And all my friends like it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not making that. I'm
Right.
making something else. So suddenly I'll unnaturally start molding what I'm doing into what just released and is the talk of the town. And I feel it affects the process a lot. And I hope there's a day when I'm completely numb to it all. But wo abhi nahi hai. So I try to be very limited. Of course, things that do need to be spoken about, I do like to speak about, but only when I'm not in that phase where I should be authentic to my work and I need to stay disconnected. So that whatever that comes out, I genuinely really want to be known just for my work. I think that's something that I'm very clear about. I don't want to be known about my personal life as such. So I rather the work speak for itself. And there's a lot of stories and music I want to put out in my life. So I hope I can keep that as the focus.
Tell me, finally, of course, the ban in Bollywood and Pakistani artists still holds. But like I said before, thanks to the internet, thanks to streaming services, there is so much more sort of an exchange of stories, of music, of artistry. Are the two of you hopeful about the future? That things might change?
Should I go first? Or you want to go first?
Go first.
I think that we do live in a very different world. I think we lived in a very different world 16 months ago, and we live in a very different world today. And I think that nothing can stop two artists collaborating. Time can for a while, and all of that, but I do think nothing can. अगर किसी को किसी के साथ काम करना है, and God wills that to happen, nobody can stop that from happening. To answer your question, I think I'm optimistic. I absolutely think that things will get better, whether we're working on some international platform. But I do think that दो लोगों को भी रोक नहीं सकता if they want to work together.
Yeah. And Mahira?
I mean, I guess, I guess having experienced it firsthand,
Yeah.
I think I look at it in a very, it's just sad. When I think about it, I mean, we've all moved on. We're all doing, that's what we do. We don't have this, we do something else. That's what happens. But I feel like a great opportunity for the entire subcontinent to come together and collaborate was lost.
Yeah.
And I think it might happen again. Who knows? Like with Z5. And there's Z5, I think it is. There are these.
Oh, you're doing something on Z5, right? You're going to be on Z5 with the short stories.
Actually, I'm just reading out one story for Sarmad. Yes.
It's a beginning. It's a beginning.
No, actually, I was, I literally was meant to do a lot of the other series were offered to me, and at that time, you know how it is. I don't know, Anupama ji, if you understand or if anybody will understand when I say this. I was scared. I was genuinely just scared. It wasn't about what will people say. I was just like, I don't know if I want to go there,
Yeah.
And they were great. There was some content which was amazing, and I didn't want to miss it, miss out on it, because it was giving me that, I want to do something different, because digital does that for you as an actor.
Yeah.
But I was scared, and yeah, and I have no shame in admitting it. I was actually scared. Now I'm a bit more like, no, yeah, come on. You can't let something that happened, which was political, affect your choices. So I don't think I will do that anymore. And I hope that we collaborate, even if it's on digital, even if it's, I don't know, in any way, because I think we, when, like Azaan said, when people who know their jobs and they're good at what they do, they come together, it's magic.
It is. Well, I hope if there's anything that we've learned from the pandemic, it is that we all need to be kinder, gentler people, and hopefully that is what will emerge. Hope.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I really.
उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है, right? So at least उम्मीद
इंशाल्लाह,
तो होनी
इंशाल्लाह।
चाहिए ना.
बिल्कुल उम्मीद एक्चुअली मुझे लगता है कि इससे बेहतर कोई इमोशन नहीं है.
Yeah.
Honestly, कुछ भी हो जाए उम्मीद जो है वो बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है.
Yeah.
बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है. अच्छा, I want to thank you, by the way. You have introduced me to Malayalam cinema.
Really?
Yes.
Are you a fan as well?
Oh my God. So anybody who's watching, because I'm sure my fans in Pakistan will be watching this interview, gotta check out Malayalam cinema. And I've been telling my friends, and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna watch. I'm like, dude, just try one.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
God. I'm so happy. Listen, it's been so lovely to talk to the both of you. Thank you so much. And I hope soon enough on the other side of this, we can do it hopefully in person someday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, this is Mahira Khan.
Hi guys, this is Azaan Sami Khan.
And if you like this video,
please subscribe to Film Companion.